This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, your one-stop shop for all things horrific and horror-related. Read the reviews, frolic in the forum, hem and haw over the horoscopes, and listen mightily to the Horror Movie Show with Mark and Jerry, your horrible hosts.
Well, hello there, folks. Jerry here.
And Mark.
Bringing you the absolute newest episode of the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com.
We're new again.
We are yet again new. Everything we've done up to this point is old. It's really depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's a large catalog there.
It is.
It's getting there. I mean, we're almost at our, getting towards our 120th show pretty soon.
Getting close, yes. That, as everyone knows, 120 is a magic number.
It is. It's divisible by 12.
Maybe 150 we'll have a celebration and we'll invite everybody over to your place.
Oh, yeah, that'll be it. When will that hit?
We'll give them your address the week before. Okay, so we've got a whole slew of new movies to talk about. Let me look down my list here. Yes, 2 from 2013, 2 from 2012. And if we've got time, we're going to blether a little bit about what we think is going to happen on The Walking Dead Season 4.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to die.
Eventually. Yeah. Let's talk about the movie Elysium.
Elysium. Now, first of all, what does Elysium mean?
It's from Greece. It's ancient Greece. It was their heaven.
There you go.
Basically.
See, they don't explain that.
No. I knew
it's
that.
Like Utopia.
I didn't have to look it up. Yeah, Utopia is an ideal. It's like it's like heaven. Elysian Fields was where soldiers would go when they died in battle.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Oh, isn't that nice? Nice to know those soldiers.
So Elysium is what I'll start at the beginning. It's written and directed by Neill Blomkamp, the same dude who made such an excellent movie, District 9.
Yeah.
Loved that movie. I've watched it. I've got a DVD copy, and I've probably watched that movie.
You make love to that movie, right?
Well, it does have a small hole in the middle. It's that's a terrific movie. If you haven't seen District 9, I highly recommend it. This is his second big feature, and it stars Matt Damon as Max, Jodie Foster as Delacourt, Charlton Copley as Kruger, Alice Braga as Frey, Diego Luna as Julio, and the always entertaining William Fichtner as Carlisle. Now, the story in a nutcap is it's about 150 years in the future. Mm-hmm. The Earth is just a filthy, dusty
trash pile.
Yeah. And all the poor are living here in an overpopulated and
District 9 kind of area.
Well, it's just awful. There's no medicine, there's no safety, there's no anything good. A few people work, and Matt Damon has a job. He's one of the few who's actually employed. And what does he work doing? He's making the robot policemen, which keep him and other people, all the rest of us, in line.
Yeah.
Now, floating high above the Earth on a absolutely monstrously large space station, which is called Elysium, are the rich. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference between this movie and reality is very, very, very small.
Really?
Well, of course it is. A gated community, a gated community for the wealthy, a mansion with guns mounted on turrets. And armed guards.
their own armed guards.
Yeah. This is exactly the same. So, the one thing I'll say about Blomkamp, his first movie, District 9, about aliens living in squalor in South Africa, was not a very heavily disguised look at apartheid.
Yeah.
This movie is a not so subtle simile or metaphor on today.
Yeah.
On reality.
Yeah.
Where the rich continue to get richer and richer, and the rest of us continue to
become poor,
closer to squalor.
Yeah.
So full marks for his social conscience, and fuller marks for the fact that he can make it really interesting, really entertaining.
Well,
did you not like this movie?
I didn't mind the movie. It reminded me too much of District 9.
Okay.
And the way he shot it was exactly the same way.
Okay.
And the whole idea that somebody can write a program that's going to reprogram the whole system.
Shut Elysium down.
Yeah, I mean, all that, just, I'm going, and the fact that the president doesn't seem to know what's going on, and he seems to be a fool, and Jodie Foster character seems to be controlling everything. And
well, she's in charge of security.
Of Elysium.
You know, I mean, that's like, who's running the U.S. government?
Yeah.
Is it the
Cheney.
president, or is it a shadow government behind? And,
yeah.
And there always is a shadow government. No matter. I'm not a conspiracy nut. More power to him. But you know, I don't believe in the Illuminati. I don't believe in the Bilderberg. I don't believe that there's a secret meeting of the super rich. The fact is, the super rich...
I've seen it on The Simpsons.
That's right. The super rich don't have to get together and have these meetings because they all have the same goal. But that doesn't mean they're not working against each other as well. You know, so the guy who owns the majority of shares in Coca-Cola and the guy who owns the majority of shares in British American Petroleum, you know, they're both mega wealthy. They both have the same goal, which is to become even wealthier and to make sure that the poor stay poor. But that doesn't mean that they get together on weekends and say, now what can we do? You know, no, they just have a common goal, but there isn't a conspiracy. In this situation, Elysium is it's like one huge city floating up in the sky, and all the rich are up there, and Jodie Foster is in charge of defense, and she takes her job way more seriously than she has to, killing anybody who even approaches the station.
Yeah, and the people on the ground
she has illegal
are sending rockets up there trying to land on Elysium.
Yeah, get medical help.
Yeah, that's their main concern.
Yeah,
now, the
dying.
whole thing about the ending of this movie, which I won't give away.
No, don't.
But it just seems like the stupidest ending I've ever seen. Well, you know, it's like, is this really going to solve all their problems the way this movie ends? No.
Yeah, I can tell you the way it might work, and that is that they switch from a police robot-based economy to a medical machine economy. Because
that would be the smart thing to do.
The rich have got machines where you just lie down on it, give your ID, and so long as you've got that tag that you're super rich, it fixes you no matter what you've got.
Yeah. Which is, again, I mean...
Well, it's 150 years in the future, Mark. They didn't have penicillin 150 years ago. Yeah. So, you know, it's no bigger a jump than penicillin was. So it's a science fiction movie. You have to take these things in stride.
Yeah, but I just thought that the whole ending was just unrealistic.
Oh, it was hopeful, and that was something that the vast majority, the billions of people living in squalor and dust and filth with no hope. Now there is some small hope.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought the Elysium itself was very cool. It is
a nice place.
It's like a huge wheel, not unlike the big wheel in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
However, it's open.
Yeah.
Along
the inside.
The inside of the wheel is open, just sort of curved sides to it, so that the air doesn't spill out into space. But that struck me as being an awfully insecure way of building a world in a vacuum.
Right.
Give me a break.
But they get the natural sunlight, which is radiated to crap because it's not within our shield, the Earth's shield. So they would all die of exposure.
Yeah. Obviously,
they've solved that problem.
They've solved that problem too. Yeah. No, it is. It is just like District 9 was. It's a fable. It's a moral fable. You know.
They probably have their own magnetic field or something.
Well, exactly. It's spinning slightly, so it has artificial gravity, which would hold the air. The atmosphere down. But anyway, the whole...
Beautiful place.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
No, and I can appreciate what he tried to do, but I just felt it was like District 9 meets Mad Max.
Oh, well, I really, really liked it. I thought it was...
it's like fun. There was a lot of weird characters that were trying to break...
Well, they had mercenaries in both, and they had to make these mercenaries look a little more futuristic and bizarre, because the mercenaries in the first movie... That was supposed to be our time. that was just like 6 months in our
future. Yeah.
Whereas this is 150 years in the future.
Yeah.
But now this is the most interesting casting choice in this movie to me. Charlton Copley playing the chief mercenary Kruger. He's like a secret mercenary working for Jodie Foster's character.
He's insane.
Oh, he's mad as a hatter, yeah. But he was the hero in District 9.
Yeah.
And in District 9, he looks like such a wimpy, skinny, little soft-spoken wimp.
Yeah.
A little desk jockey, a bureaucrat.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of District 9, you don't like him much because he's a toady.
Yeah.
You come to like him because you see his strength come out once he's confronted, once the humans have turned against him, once the corporation has turned against him. And plus he's got alien DNA in him now, turning him into a bug.
Yeah.
But in this
that
movie,
was all really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
This movie isn't so interesting like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're very different stories. But I really like them both. I'll watch Elysium several more times. I know I will.
Now, Matt Damon.
Yeah, he's okay. He's not one of my favorite actors, but he was all right in this.
Yeah, he plays
smart-ass American. He
again,
always plays a smart-ass American.
A reluctant hero kind of thing happening here.
That's right. He's got no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets a fatal dose of radiation at work. Then when the underground, that's right. He goes to the underground, who he knows because Matt Damon's character was a bit of a criminal, and he says, "You've got to get me on the next ship up to Elysium." And evidently, some of the ships do get through, when they fix people.
Yeah.
But Jodie Foster's taken a real hard line lately, and she's not letting any ship, because she isn't supposed to kill them.
No,
she's supposed to discourage them and send them back to Earth.
Right.
But she's not supposed to blow them out of the heavens.
Which she starts doing.
Which she's decided to do because she has her own evil scheme. And see, now that to me, there's your subtext and your subplots and so on. They are in Elysium. They're just different plots than in District 9.
But nothing that we haven't seen before. I mean, it's just a struggle for power,
Yeah, I suppose, but it's a big it's the ultimate struggle for power, because he or she who controls Elysium controls everything.
Yeah.
So it's bigger. It's a bigger story than District 9.
But Matt Damon's life is just so miserable.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that the only reason he's radiated is because he doesn't want to lose his job, and they force him to go into this.
His dick of a boss forces him.
Something jams, and he says, "Go into the machinery, man, or you're out of there."
Yeah, you've got like 5 seconds.
And he doesn't want to do it.
No, he knows it's stupid.
It's a stupid idea, but he has to do it because he doesn't want to lose his job. He's already been injured, and with his arm, because the police. He's just smart-ass to the police.
Oh yeah, that's right.
At the beginning of the movie, he does a wisecrack to these robots, and they basically take him down and break his arm.
Yeah, that's right.
And so he's late to work.
Yeah. He's docked for it.
Yeah, he's docked for it, and then his
boss wants to fire him when he sees the cast on his arm.
Yeah,
and he says, "No, I'll be fine." So the boss lets it slide. His boss isn't a total monster. But he's got his own problems. Yeah. With management, which ultimately goes up to Elysium.
Yeah. So he forces him to go in and get radiated, and now
he's got a reason that he has to get.
Matt Damon has to get up to Elysium.
And meanwhile, the underground, the people who are sending people up by shuttle to try to save their lives, and make a profit at the same time. Those guys pretty much blackmail Damon, saying, okay, the only way you're going to get on the next shuttle is if you do something for us. And that basically, it's a suicide mission.
Yeah, they tried to capture somebody.
Yeah.
And this person happens...
Oh, yeah, this is a William Fichtner character.
Yeah.
And I love him. He's so good. He's always fun to watch.
He always plays the same character. He's such an ass.
He always plays a swine. The only time that he is redeemed Well, he was a recurring character in like the second, third, fourth years of Prison Break. He is redeemed by the end of what's the movie with Bruce Willis where they're deep miners and they go up to blow up the Armageddon. Yeah. He's the head astronaut. He's the company man.
Yeah.
But he comes around. But yeah, I know what you mean. He invariably plays a swine. The last movie I saw him in was the Batman movie with the Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Heath Ledger's character.
Okay.
He's in charge of the bank with the mob money in it.
That's right.
Joker
That's
robbed.
right.
And he's left with a grenade.
You don't know who I am.
Grenade in his mouth, I think, and a string attached to the bus, and kaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's good because he's like a man of action, but he's got a real nasty rat-like face.
Well, he's like a corporate man of action.
Yeah,
you know?
indeed.
It's like he's always playing some sort of corporate guy.
Yeah, he was like an FBI agent in Prison Break.
Yeah.
And it was nice. His character really evolved in that to the point where he understood that the heroes were being framed and so on. So, you know, and he was a strange character. He was a junkie and on the outs with his bosses and all. Anyway, entirely off the topic. But Fitchner is terrific.
Yeah, and the fact that he has this program that's supposed to take down the government, the existing government of Elysium.
Right, and let Jodie Foster jump in.
Yeah.
And we're not giving too much away. This is all in the first 10-15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why everything happens.
Yeah. And Matt Damon accidentally
blackmailed into stealing this guy's thoughts.
And they don't have no idea what they're stealing.
He doesn't know at that time.
No.
He finds out later, but it was good. I thought it had little tastes of Blade Runner in it, and I liked the future technology. I thought it was fairly believable. The bed that the rich lie on and it cures them of everything. Okay, that is obviously far-fetched, but it's nothing we haven't seen in Star Trek 100 times.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, learning machines and
yeah.
Okay, I would highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. For a summer blockbuster, I thought it was a good one. And you know what would make a good double bill? Elysium and Oblivion.
Yeah.
I thought they'd go well together.
Yeah, they have the same name kind of thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, these old...
This is a $115 million project there for Elysium. So, it's up there.
It's hard to believe that all the stuff on the ground is just rubble.
Yeah.
And they must have spent like $50 million on the station.
Elysium is, they got that open roof. They just throw their trash over the side. And it goes down and rains onto the people on Earth.
Probably does. But it's not that. It's a big station, and there's probably like the size of a city, millions of people living on it. Yeah, but the thing is,
it's one city.
But there's billions on Earth.
Yeah, that's the thing. You would think there would be more than just one city up there.
Yeah, well.
But where's the Chinese cities? Where's
Oh, no, it was interracial. It was interracial. It was so long as you had money, you were up there.
But you would think there'd be more than one.
Well, there's a cutoff point. 500,000 is not enough.
No.
You're in the trash heap with the other poor people.
Well, I would say more than that's more like 100 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if you're in the trash.
Yeah. Yes, and God knows what they're even using for money. I don't remember that specifically, but it's just there's the poor down below and the rich up above.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same as our world today. So what we've got to do basically is overthrow the government.
Yeah.
With some sort of a program and steal back the health machines.
Exactly.
It sounds like the anti-Obama birther nonsense.
Well, that's the thing. The guys on Earth just want to be healthy. They don't want to be rich.
Well,
they just want to be healthy.
They want to live their lives. They want to see their children grow up because it's invariably. Matt Damon wants it for himself in that instance, but. Mostly it's like people's kids. They want to get their kids up to Elysium, so they're a little girl with leukemia who features in the story.
Yeah.
And it's just like they won't help her.
No.
They don't even want to know she exists.
No.
And again, like the super rich today, it's not that they're bad people individually, but acting as a group. They're
doing
evil.
terrible things.
Yeah, they're evil. I mean, sort of like Americans.
Yeah.
You know, individually, they're lovely people, but as a group, you get a whole bunch of Americans together. Next thing you know, they're hanging people for stealing loaves of bread and declaring war on Canada. Oh, it's coming.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And it'll be
They
so
want
easy.
our bread.
All they have to do is take the border, 100
And
miles
move it up.
north, and they've got us all.
They've covered like 90% of the population. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
They just have to move the border.
Leave the resources up north, and they'll send us out with robot cops to mine the trees and dig the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next movie is R.I.P.D. And
Let me guess, you didn't like this one.
well, I have to say I have never seen a movie that so blatantly ripped off other movies as this one. Not a big budget movie. So
it is a big budget movie.
it's a big budget movie, and I've never seen a movie with this much behind it that just stole from other movies, and not necessarily good movies. But anyway, let me give the background here. Directed by Robert Schwentke, written by Phil Hay and Matt Manfredi, stars Ryan Reynolds, Jeff Bridges, Kevin Bacon, Mary Louise Parker, and James Hong, among others. The gist of this is that Ryan Reynolds is a cop named Nick. He's a detective. And he and his partner, Hayes, played by Kevin Bacon, are in the middle of a big criminal bust when Kevin Bacon shoots our hero in the face, sends him plummeting to his
Okay, there's a reason
demise.
for that.
And Nick then, this is all in the first 5 minutes of the movie, Nick wakes up and he's not in heaven, but he's at a desk with Mary Louise Parker, who is sort of like the captain of the Rest in Peace department.
Right.
And these are lawmen in their former lives who are not going to heaven. They have to put in like 100 years.
Yeah.
As a cop, working for the good side.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that hell is constantly, souls are escaping from hell and going to the earth and wreaking havoc. And so you need
and
the
some people
R.I.P.D. to hunt these guys down and send them back to hell.
And it's not necessarily that they escape from hell either. Some of them just refuse to die.
Yeah, that's right. Or they've died and they refuse to leave the earth.
Yeah. So they're out looking for
but they're bad souls.
This is based on a comic.
Okay. Now, it may be based on a comic, but I'll tell you what the movie is based on. First and foremost, Men in Black. It is just one long rip-off of Men in Black.
It's even shot the same way.
You've got the young, smart-ass cop.
Yeah.
You've got the older, grizzled cop, played by Jeff Bridges. You've got the cranky captain, who is their boss. Mm-hmm. You've got all kinds of real peculiar-looking monsters.
Yep, the dead.
The dead or aliens. Does it matter?
Yeah.
It doesn't, because you want a monster who can change his shape or whatever. Oh.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that the dead could modify their look.
Why would they?
Why
would they have the same powers as aliens?
Yeah.
It
just makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. It comes down to a huge, big fight. They've got fancy weapons. It's exactly the same as
Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Which is also based on a comic.
Yeah.
Probably written by the same people, for all I know.
I'm wondering now, was the comic R.I.P.D. a rip-off of the comic Men in Black?
Yeah.
But it's shameless. It's absolutely shameless. And they have a secret cop lair on Earth where it's all full of perps and handcuffs and fights breaking out, and it's just exactly the same opening scenes from when Will Smith joins
and the strangely
MIB.
enough, shot almost identically. I mean, you get the same feel.
Yeah.
The same feel.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the movie because I like these type of movies, right?
It was all right. It was okay.
And I liked the banter between the two cops.
I found Jeff Bridges' character really, really stupid.
Well, you did, huh? I enjoyed his character. Because he plays like this legendary lawman from the 1800s.
Western lawman. And the reason that he's still going is that he keeps doing
bad
things,
screwing up
off the book.
Yeah.
And another 50 years has been added to your
sentence.
It's not a sentence, to your duty.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I liked it. I liked that character. Yeah. So, I mean, it probably got on your nerves, but it didn't on mine.
Well, I'm not one of these Ryan Reynolds haters.
No.
A lot of people really seem to despise him.
Ever since the Green Lantern, I think.
Oh, no.
Even before then?
It goes way back.
Oh, yeah, he was doing those
they just don't like his
college movies.
Yeah, they don't like his smarmy, smart-ass character.
And
which
he's a Canadian, right? He's from Vancouver, I believe.
Another reason to hate him. I just couldn't get past the rip-off of it. It's just... It shouldn't be called R.I.P.D. It should be called Ripped Off. Get it?
Yeah.
Here's my little R.I.P.D. joke.
If you liked Men in Black, you probably like this movie too.
I liked the first Men in Black. I've despised the two sequels, but I quite enjoyed the first one.
First one was very unique.
Yeah, it was...
I thought it was really stylized, the way they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was a real refreshing thing at the time.
It looked like a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one, it has not advanced the cinematic art at all. Mm-hmm. No way. Not writing, not acting, nothing. They got a cute little gimmick, which is not new by any means. And here's another steal. There's a movie remade back in the 70s with Warren Beatty, Julie Christie. Heaven Can Wait.
That's right.
And that's a remake of an older movie. But in Heaven Can Wait, the idea is that Warren Beatty's character died at the wrong time, and he's owed years more life on Earth. But his body has already been destroyed, so they send him back to Earth in the body of a big, fat, ugly old rich dude.
Well,
so he's in an entirely...
Not necessarily old.
Yeah, he was old.
Was he?
Yeah, he was an old fat...
Then how does he...
He dies of a heart attack, and they slip Warren Beatty's character into his body.
No. He didn't die of a heart attack. He was murdered by his wife.
Oh, that's right.
And his...
Okay. Right.
Right hand.
Okay, and then the next thing you know, he's walking around again because Warren Beatty has been slipped inside by Buck Henry's heavenly... Avatar. Anyway, so when people look at him, he looks like this fat old rich dude. But when Warren Beatty looks in a mirror, he sees himself, and that's what they did with R.I.P.D.
Oh, and that was funny. I
just thought another freaking ripoff, because in this movie, Nick appears, that is the Ryan Reynolds character, appears as James Hong, this skinny 90-year-old Chinese dude with a silly hat. And the other guy, Jeff Bridges' character, looks like a supermodel.
Super hooker.
Well, you can say hooker. Yeah, she's dressed like that in the micro minis and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she's just like 40, 22, 36. Mm-hmm. She's just like Raquel Welch in her prime.
She's a babe.
She's a big babe. Yeah. And but they've got their funny little weapons and stuff, and it's just one rip-off after another. I should have made notes, because there were 2 or 3 other movies that they stole shamelessly from. I don't even know that they know they're stealing. They're just witless. And they think, well, what about doing this? Oh,
well, actually, strangely enough, I mean, if you read the Men in Black comics, they're not very much like the movies at all.
Okay. As far as movies go, R.I.P.D. didn't just borrow. It's out and out thievery. They just took whatever they wanted. They took the look, they took the style, they took the characters. And it's not like Men in Black was 100% original. The grizzled cop, the young cop.
Oh yeah,
that wasn't original when Men in Black did it. But
no.
This movie, considering how unbelievably similar the situation is.
Yeah.
Rip off something a little more obscure, maybe. Rip off something a little better, too. If you're going to be a thief, if you're going to plagiarize from the best. The reason that they ripped off Men in Black is because they're just whores looking to have a big hit like it was. And, and I think they got their asses handed to them. I don't think R.I.P.D. did well at all.
Yeah, a lot of criticism, that's for sure.
Oh, it's a piece of crap. But I was saying before, I'm not a Ryan Reynolds hater. I loved him in Buried, and I thought he was really good in Waiting, where it was set in a restaurant. But I didn't think much of Green Lantern. Although Green Lantern was better than Green Hornet.
Yeah. Actually, I can agree with that.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get off this terrible movie, and we'll come back later and recommend it. But, our next movie is an interesting one that I just sort of stumbled on. I never heard about this last year. It's called Gallowwalkers, directed by Andrew Goth, which is a great name for a horror director. Written by Goth and Joanne Ray. Stars Wesley Snipes, Kevin Howarth, Riley Smith, Tanit Phoenix, Simona, she's missing some vowels here in her last name, Brlikova as Kisscut, and Patrick Bergen. And this is a really weird movie. It's like a witchcraft zombie western.
Yeah.
So Wesley Snipes plays a guy who hunts down like these demons who are in earthly form. Now, but it's like an alternate Earth because it's the Wild West, but there's undead and demons roaming around terrorizing like normal people. And it's just one weird, peculiar little movie. It
starts off like you're jumping into the middle of the movie and you have no idea what's going on. And it goes on quite a long time before
giving a backstory.
Yeah, a backstory is presented. And even then, it's not... I read the thing they have in IMDb, and from there I could understand what the story was because they have even more information in there.
Right.
And I'm going, oh, now it makes sense.
Right.
But I didn't get it from the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's got to do with Wesley Snipes' character,
who is very like Blade.
Very much.
He's like a super
warrior. Man, this guy could shoot the freckle off a flea.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really ridiculous with guns in general. I mean, I really hate it when people are that sharp with a gun, not even a rifle, but a gun, and they can shoot things like 100 yards away, like it's right next to them, and that's ridiculous. Guns are just not that exact.
Handguns, they're all guns, Mark.
Yeah, handguns.
Yeah, pistol.
It's just dumb. Anyway, why they make these things and everybody.
Well, but that's the legend of the Old West, and they're taking like the legendary gunslinger, which is what Wesley Snipes is.
Yeah.
And the legend of vampires and zombies and I don't know what all monsters, but there are lots of people running around with white skin and long white hair.
Yeah.
So you get all these people looking like Johnny and Edgar Winter running around.
Well,
and I'm not entirely sure why, because some of them seem to be good, and some of them seem to be horribly evil.
Well, according to IMDb, Wesley Snipes' mother, his mother was a nun who broke some sort of sacred vow to God to have Wesley Snipes' character survive as a child. And now anybody who Wesley Snipes kills becomes a zombie.
Comes back
from the dead.
And hadn't he already killed a whole bunch of people?
Yeah.
So whatever the deal was that made all his victims come back, he wasn't a child. He was already well grown. Now everywhere he goes in the West, he's killed so many men and women that now they're all coming after him. They're all hunting him, and they're the ones with the white hair.
And these zombies are going around killing other people for their skin, because they can't survive out in the sun.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
they're vampire-ish.
They actually have no skin at all.
Yeah, they're a combo vampire zombie.
Yeah, they have no skin, so they have to steal other people's skin.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Anyway.
But I'll tell you, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was a real fun ride.
Yeah.
It's silly as hell. And it's also, I mean, I might say that it was ripping off Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns.
A little bit.
But this is more sort of an homage and a takeoff on it. But there are plenty of scenes with like real close-ups on the eyes going left, right.
Yeah.
You know, the itchy trigger finger.
Yeah.
Close up on the clock tower bell. You know, all that stuff. And it's funny, and it's just, but What a peculiarity. Why did I not hear about this last year?
Well, first of all, this movie was actually shot in 2006.
Oh, goodness. It's quite
so
old.
It's been around, and it's right at the time Wesley Snipes was being indicted for tax evasion.
Okay.
So he was off continent doing this movie when suddenly the government came knocking.
Right.
And he actually came back to the States, said, I'm guilty.
Right.
They gave him $1 million bond.
Right.
They paid the bond so that he can go finish this movie.
Right. The movie probably couldn't have been finished because if he's a producer on it, which I believe he was, then that might be considered part of his assets.
Right.
Maybe. So, yeah, Lord knows, with movies, sometimes Hollywood's had to sit on a studio, or even a producer has had to sit on a movie for decades, and maybe it never gets seen.
Yeah.
The one time that a movie was held up intentionally, Howard Hughes did that with a movie starring Jane Russell with the enormous bosoms.
Yeah.
They're so large, and he wanted them so well displayed in his movie that he, who designed airplanes and airplane engines, he designed a special bra that would lift and separate and push him out and not show while she wore a low-cut dress.
Is that right?
He invented a special bra just for Jane Russell. and then because there was all this hype that it was the sexiest movie, the dirtiest movie ever made, to build the suspense. He sat on it for a year or two before releasing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it do well?
Oh yeah, I think it did very well. I think it made a star out of Russell, and I think I don't know. Hughes is like that Citizen Kane character.
Yes.
Okay, my business is losing money. Well, considering how much money I have, I can go on losing money for another 50 years.
Yeah.
Before I have to worry. So, Howard Hughes was not relying on his movie making for a living.
Yeah, well, he was doing things for the government and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, but he also inherited his father's tool company out of Texas, and they made tools for the oil drilling business. So he was hugely rich from that.
Right.
Then he got into airplanes.
Yeah, that whole spruce goose thing.
Yeah.
The reason why it was made of spruce
was lighter.
No.
Why?
The government wouldn't let him have any metal during the war.
Oh, sure, during the war.
There was a shortage, and he wanted to build this thing that would go and pick up people and move them from place to place.
Whole tanks.
And the government, this was near the end of the war, right? And the government said, well, you can build the plane, but you can't use any metal. So he made it out of wood.
Right.
And the only reason he only flew it once, it was the fact that the war ended and they didn't want it.
No, they didn't need it. Yeah.
He wasn't even supposed to take it up.
Yeah.
He was only testing the engine.
Yeah, it did fly once.
Yeah, he was only testing the engine, and he said, "To hell with it." He went up and down this lake a couple times, and the third time he said, "I'm going for it," and he just flew it up and then came down, and that was it.
Yeah, he didn't get very far above the lake, but it was airworthy. Okay, anyway, back to Gallowwalkers, which has very little to do with Jane Russell and special brassieres.
But we'd like to think that it had more to do with the people in the movie.
Yeah.
There are some nice-looking women in this movie.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. I like the peculiar names of the characters too. Riley Smith plays Fabulos. Kevin Howarth plays Kanza. Tanit Phoenix plays Angel, and Simona Brhl. How do you pronounce that? There isn't a vowel in the whole thing. Berlitzkova plays Kisscut. She's the real villain.
Yeah.
Although when it comes time to deal with her, Wesley doesn't have too much of a problem. So it struck me at the end, they're setting it up for a sequel, but I think if Wesley Snipes hasn't made this movie, in like
6 years.
Yeah, 8 years, 7 years. Then there probably won't be a sequel. I guess it went straight to DVD, and I just didn't see it in the stores or anything. I mean, I don't go into video stores anymore because there aren't that many.
That's right.
Yeah, everything's download these days.
I agree with you. It reminded me of the Good, Bad, and the Ugly kind of feel to it.
And that's intentional, as opposed to R.I.P.D.
Not it.
I don't think that was intentional.
Yeah.
I think they thought they were being original and clever and funny.
Yeah.
Whereas Gallowwalkers knows they're taking off on the old spaghetti western.
And I like the way it unfolds, too, because it's not a linear unfold. You don't know what the heck's going on at the beginning.
Right.
And then at the end, it's a satisfying ending as well.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie.
Good movie. Recommend Gallowwalkers.
Yeah.
And the reason they call them Gallowwalkers is that you can hang them.
Yeah.
But they'll come back.
Yeah. Well, what's the tagline? Live by the gun, die by the gun, come back for more.
I like that. That's cute. Okay. Next movie we got is called Dead Souls, 2012 movie directed by Colin Thays, written by John Doolan. Stars, I like this. It stars Jesse James as Johnny Petrie, Magda Apanovitz as Emma, good old Bill Moseley as Sheriff Deptford, and Geraldine Hughes as Mary Petrie. I'm drawing a blank.
Well,
Tell me about this movie I've seen.
Okay. Johnny learns on his 18th birthday that he's adopted.
Right.
He receives a letter from a lawyer saying that he's inherited a house.
Oh, he had big old rambling house. Okay.
Yeah.
Geez, how many movies have started that way?
But this isn't actually at the beginning. At the very beginning, it shows a preacher of some sort crucifying his whole family.
Right.
And literally crucifying them in the barn.
And that's Johnny's dad.
Yeah, his dad, his mom, his sister, his older brother.
Yeah.
And his older brother, lucky for him, hides the little baby in a Chester drawer in the basement of the house.
Right.
Then gets caught by his dad and dragged to the barn. So right when everybody's dead except for the dad, and he's crucifying himself.
Yeah, I know.
You know, he's hammering.
It's a good trick.
He's hammering in the nail on one hand, and he's got a reverse nail on the other. So he slams his hand onto the other side, and then he says, "Oh no, there's a fifth one."
Right.
And there's 5 kids, or 5 people in the family, everybody thinks he meant the baby.
Right.
But it turns out he didn't mean the baby at all. There's a 5th point in the body that he missed, and that was the heart.
Ah, yes, the piercing in the side.
And in order for the ritual of whatever he was trying to do to be finished, he had to be nailed in the heart.
Right.
But the kid doesn't know any of this.
No.
So he comes, and his mother, who is really his aunt.
Yeah, Johnny. So now we meet Johnny grown up.
Yeah.
And he thinks his aunt is his mom, and she's a real bitch.
She's a real psycho.
Yeah.
Not real necessarily a bitch, but a psycho. And she goes a little mental and ends up in the hospital just after his birthday, and he decides he's going to go see this place.
This rambling, falling down mansion that he's been given.
And the ghosts,
the family home.
Yes, the ghosts of his family are wandering.
Right.
And so he's dealing with a girl that's actually staying in the house, sitting.
That's right.
She's a traveler that decided that she was going to break in and
she's
stay. Squatting. That's the word I'm looking for.
He doesn't even kick her out.
No, he's kind of scared to stay there alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Right away, I mean, things are moving, sounds are happening. He thinks people are upstairs, downstairs, all over the place, and they are.
Yeah, well, not people exactly,
but his former
people,
former family is still in the house, until the ritual is completed, And this is what the movie's about.
Yeah,
it was an okay movie. I can't complain about it. I mean,
I just thought it was very, very run of the mill. Once you started describing it, I remembered it. They took a perfectly good title from a collection of short stories by great Russian writer Nikolai Gogol, Dead Souls, and they put it on this. For no good reason. It doesn't mean anything, but it's a cool sounding title. You know, could have been anything, you know, and Father Makes 5. Carpentry for beginners.
They could have called it The Fifth Nail.
That's right. Yeah,
something like that.
One more hole.
Yeah. The tagline was "Don't go home."
Never go home. No, that's just good advice.
That's just Anyway, so
I don't remember anybody.
It's been a while since you've seen it.
It's been at least a month since I saw it, and I found it forgettable. I remember it now. I remember Bill Moseley coming in late in the movie, and he's always good fun. He's one of those character actors that makes his living through horror movies.
Right.
He's been in all the Rob Zombie movies, for example, that we talked about not too long ago.
Right.
Even if it's just a small part, but sometimes he gets a big part. In this one, it's fairly small. He just plays the sheriff.
Yeah, I was going to say, the sheriff comes in and out, and there's also a real estate lawyer guy
that's right,
that wants to sell the property and make a ton of money.
He just wants to sell it cheap.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, he has a subdivider developer it lined up there. He's going to make lots of money.
He will, but he wants the kid out of there.
Yeah.
He needs the kid's signature.
And unfortunately, they end up at one point or another getting killed and rising from the dead for some reason as well. So
you cannot get rid of a real estate agent, I can tell you that.
I guess it's the fact that if somebody dies on the property, then the soul of the family member can actually inhabit the dead body. So the sheriff and the real estate agent at some point get killed, and they're running all over the place trying to kill the kid. There's also a half brother that comes into play in the.
Oh yes, he's a crabby fella.
Yeah, and he actually does look a lot like the preacher.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a relative of his.
Maybe it's the same guy.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Anyway,
the thing about real estate agents is, you know, they're harder to kill than vampires.
No, he's not a real estate agent. He's a lawyer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm defaming real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Lawyers,
so he obviously deserved to die.
Right. just before it even come to the property.
Exactly. Yeah. And the fact that he rises from the dead, he deserved that too.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so those are the movies we wanted to talk about today, but I thought we might, Mark and I might talk just a little bit about what we can. I don't know what we can expect, but what we might hope to see in season 4 of The Walking Dead.
More walkers.
More hideous monsters dying. So
the governor.
Do you think the governor's gonna show up again?
Of course he is.
Is it because he got run out of town on a rail?
He's going to show up.
He's got 2 dudes.
Yeah.
So he has to rebuild his power base, which is, I mean, he had a whole town, and he had a whole town.
He's so crazy.
People.
He's so crazy. He gonna come back.
Yeah, well, he's gonna do everything he can to just hurt Rick.
Yeah, he just has this vendetta against him.
Revenge. Yeah, and
all because his
Michonne killed his daughter.
Yeah. I mean, geez, you know, the kid was a zombie.
Oh yeah. No. As you say, the governor is flat out nuts.
Yeah,
he's the craziest character we've met. Next to maybe that poor guy in the shed who was hiding under his blankets, and they burst in, and they have to. Michonne is about to kill him with her giant blade, but a zombie does it for her. But the guy wouldn't shut his mouth. He's just like a hermit in the woods. The poor guy had survived for a year living on his grubs and berries, and these guys showed up and made noise and got him killed.
What a poor guy.
What a poor lunatic.
I have no idea I have no idea what's going on. Because I started reading the comic book.
It ends with Rick turning the prison into an old folks' home.
Right.
Like
he brings all
a sanctuary for
the rest of the city.
Yeah, people who are useless as fighters, but they're still human beings.
Yeah.
So that's how it ends, is him taking over the governor's duties of feeding and looking after these people. And,
Wasn't it? I mean, you would think that the town would have been a better place to do that in.
Well, I don't think so. If the prison is secure, the prison is better than any place.
Yeah, for security purposes alone. Yeah. But for living,
I
not
know
a great place to live.
It's a nasty place to live.
But then again, just like Under the Dome, I mean, these city folks are twisted.
Yeah.
They want to see fighting.
Yeah.
They want to see. Yeah. They want to see a zombie on man action.
It took a year to get that in Walking Dead. It took 9 days in Under the Dome.
Yeah.
Evidently, the people of
Cedars.
Chester's Mill.
Oh, Chester's Mill.
Chester's Mill are fairly easily swayed to the dark side.
That's right. They're probably all zombies to start with.
Well, I certainly hope that Michonne gets to do more. Who did we lose at the end of the last season?
We did lose some big players there.
We lost, I've got my list here. We lost Andrea.
That's right.
We lost Andrea.
I liked her.
We've still got Glenn and Maggie.
Yeah.
We've still got Carol. Oh, yeah, we lost Merle.
That's right.
Merle is gone, so now we just have his good brother Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Wilson, did he wind up dying? The one-legged farmer?
No, I don't think he did.
Herschel's
still around.
Herschel's still around, okay. His other daughter, Beth, she's still with us. David Morrissey, the governor, is running around. We lost Milton, Dallas Roberts' character, right. Milton Mamet.
He ended up saving
Andrea.
To no avail.
Well, to the point where she at least killed the monster who killed her.
Right.
But, yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, she wasn't quick. Well, that's what was driving me crazy in that last episode, that he's dying of multiple stab wounds to his gut inflicted by the governor so that he'll die and then eat Andrea's face off.
Yeah.
And Andrea's in the chair, and she's not working particularly hard at getting herself free. She'd rather have a nice little chit-chat with the dying Milton.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing.
Oh, yeah, it was a nice torture for Andrea.
Yeah, it was a
and Milton.
Yeah.
Knowing Milton
Brilliant.
would turn himself and kill the girl he'd been protecting.
Yeah.
That he'd finally found his backbone.
Yeah.
And his goodness, and that was to no avail. But Andrew Lincoln had, at the end of this season, he'd relinquished dictatorial powers. He'd said, no, we are not. I don't want to be like the governor. We have to. That's what makes us different from him. It's what makes us a community, what makes us human. Mm. So it's back to being a happier, friendlier place. And the first thing that they'd all voted on was to bring everybody, all the more helpless people from the little crappy town, the artificial town, over to the prison, where at least they're behind closed
So doors. I see the prison being overrun, everybody dying, and them running off to some other place.
I think that's the plan for season 5. Yeah. No, I mean it could certainly happen, but the one thing that they do have now at the start of season 4 is they've replenished their cache of weapons and ammo, so they could clear the fields. They could get
but
back
that
to
that would make a dull season just to stay at the prison.
Well, it wouldn't take more than an episode to clear the fields, you know.
I'm just saying that staying at the prison
I
won't
see.
advance the storyline very much.
They've done that.
Yeah.
They were in the prison for this last
So,
year.
Maybe they can leave a contingency there to live off their nice lives, but then trudge on to wherever they're going.
They need a lot of vehicles.
I don't know how many older folks obviously, they've got to introduce more characters this season. Yeah. Because I think they pretty much played out just about everybody.
Yeah,
they've got to have a few main characters introduced because, we're running low.
I wonder if Sarah Wayne Callies' character, Laurie, that is Rick's wife, will continue to make her ghostly appearances. But I sort of got the idea that Sheriff Rick, by the end of season 3, had shaken the cobwebs out of his brain and he wasn't going to be crazy anymore. I think he was crazy from grief.
But that means Laurie won't come back anymore.
Well, exactly. Yeah. One of the creators was on Talking Dead, and he was asked, "So what's the deal with Laurie?" And he said, "Well, I'll tell you this: she's not a ghost."
Right.
Meaning, she's a hallucination, and the only person seeing her is Rick.
Right.
And if Rick has got over his massive grief, and also given up soul power, which was also a huge pressure on him. So if he's now sharing the load and somewhat over her horrible death.
So he's got to be like the town sheriff with the city council also helping out with making decisions.
Well, one hopes, and that's the way they were acting in the first season.
Yeah.
It wasn't
because you got to have somebody to take the lead, but you got to have a sort of a council underneath him to guide him.
Yeah, he can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't do it alone.
No, I mean that would be a dictator,
well,
and
that's the governor.
Yeah,
exactly what Rick said.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, folks, by the time this
airs
episode is on, I hope that The Walking Dead is coming on in October, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I remember the very first year was on Halloween night. I think they're going to be a couple of weeks earlier this year. So I got to check my listings, don't I?
Yes, you do.
All right, well, that's it for me. I got to go get a burger.
Uh-huh.
A living burger.
one that will come back to haunt you.
After I eat it, it will haunt me.
Yes, for your end of your days.
So real quick recap here. I really liked Elysium.
I thought it was more of the same of District 9, but I can appreciate the movie.
Okay, he's wrong.
Okay.
It's really good. R.I.P.D. stinks.
I liked it.
Mark liked it way more than me. Again, he's wrong. Gallowwalkers, I think we both liked that one.
Yes, we both liked that one.
It's a peculiar, weird, spaghetti western, zombie vampire movie.
But the only failings it has is that it didn't quite explain why things were. It wasn't clear. I had to read it in IMDb to figure it out.
I think by the end of the movie I sort of understood what was going on, but I was scratching my head a few times during the movie. But I think I had the gist of it. Dead Souls, mediocre. I thought
it was an okay, low budget horror.
Make it a second movie in a double bill.
We're both looking forward to Walking Dead.